Hey Mixers, welcome back to another NFL player props video. Well, not just player props, we're doing some game totals, spreads, sides, etc. here as well. This is the final video for the Sunday and Monday games. So all of my leans on the sides, totals, and spreads will update all of those. And then I have 7 new best bets for you, some touchdown calls, and some player props. So let's jump into that. All right, everyone. So here are the bets that I already gave out in the early look video for the spreads, totals, and sides. We also have a moneyline parlay. We did not do a teaser this week, even though we did hit a teaser last week, which was awesome. I just didn't see anything I was liking on that Monday slate, and I do live in a state where I can't bet those. So I was out of state for that one day. I didn't have time to go out again to go ahead and make a teaser bet. So here's what we have so far. You can go ahead and screenshot that if you want. We are taking a big shot on the Carolina Panthers as a moneyline underdog. All right, here are the best bets for the touchdown calls that I have already previously given out. You can go ahead and screenshot that. We have a lot in the 100s area this week because there wasn't anything in the big 200 or 300 areas that I was liking. And like I said, I can't go out of state to make these bets, so I didn't go and make these later on. All right, the player props that we've already given out right here. And then some more player props that we gave out on a secondary video. So this is kind of like the third player props video with a bunch of other stuff in as well. So those are all still live. You can go get those whenever you want. Here is our Thursday results. We already recapped that in another video. And so let's jump into the new picks and all of my new leans and everything. So we originally took the Lions minus 4.5, the Lions on the money line, and the Lions over 47.5. Those were all leans, so I did not bet any of those. Now we are getting that over at 46.5, so I do like taking that one here. The Lions spread has obviously opened up to 6.5, so we'll just stick with our original 4.5 that we got on Monday. Cleveland at Baltimore. These leans, we originally took the Baltimore money line as a lean and under 45.5. Those lines have not moved, so we'll stick with those. And I did bet the Cleveland Browns plus 12.5. I did see it at 13.5 at one point, but I was not quick enough to get it on Monday. And so I did get it at 12.5. It is still available at 12.5 on some books. So you could still get that if you wanted to. All right, the Giants at Dallas. These lines have not moved too much. The only thing that has changed is Dallas. You can get them anywhere from 4.5 to 6.5 still on all the books. So whatever line you like there, you can go get it from 4.5 to 6.5. I think I saw a 7.5 even, but possibly I'm wrong about that. But anyways, we will just update our Dallas lean to the minus 4.5. Everything else will stay the same. All right, Jacksonville and Cincinnati Bengals. We originally were leaning towards Cincinnati here, and we are going to stick with that. The lines have not moved much, but we were originally leaning over 50.5, and now it is available at 49.5. So we are updating that to the better line there. I did give out Bretton Strange over 31.5 receiving yards as a player prop. And then Chase Brown TD parlay is one of the new picks. So we're doing a touchdown parlay, and we're going to throw Chase Brown in there. All right, the Titans and the LA Rams. So these lines have moved, not a lot, I would say, but they've opened up a little bit. So we originally were on the under 41.5. Now we can get that under 42.5. And then we were originally on the LA Rams minus 6. Now we can get that at minus 5.5. So a little bit better numbers there. I am putting the Rams in a moneyline parlay, which I know is probably a very popular move this week. So hopefully that comes through for us. Some new things that I'm doing. I'm going to take a long shot on Kyren Williams for the first touchdown. And then I'm also just putting Kyren's anytime touchdown into a touchdown parlay with Chase Brown and one other that I will show you a little bit later. All right, the Seattle Seahawks and the Pittsburgh Steelers. We were originally on the Steelers. We're sticking with that. The line has not moved on the money, like on the total. The spread has moved a little bit, but we got it at 2.5. I did see some 1.5s. I saw some 3s. I think I saw 3.5. But we like our 2.5. Obviously, the 1.5 would have been nice, but I never, I wasn't able to get that. So no big deal there. And then Pittsburgh in the moneyline parlay. So you should have seen that on the original screen that we already took that. DK Metcalf over 55.5 receiving yards. I already previously gave that out to you. That has gone up by at least 10 yards on all the apps. And then I gave out Chris Boswell and Jason Myers over 50.5 for the longest field goal. So nothing new today in this game other than what I've already given out. All right, Buffalo and the New York Jets. We were originally leaning with Buffalo on the money line, the Jets on the spread, which we will stick with. and then the under 45.5, but that has ballooned up to 47.5. So we will take that new better line, obviously. I gave you a bonus bet, a plus money bet on Garrett Wilson over 5.5 receptions. That has now come down to almost an even payout. So you're not getting the plus money that you were getting when I originally gave that out. But I still think it's a decent bet if you want to take a shot on that. And then I'm adding a best bet here for Breece Hall over 18.5 receiving yards. He was able to easily clear this last game against what I think is a better defense, although they didn't really seem to play that way. And he did it on only 2 catches here. So if he can only get 2 or 3 catches a game, obviously that's not ideal. But the fact that he was able to do that on just a couple catches is promising, especially considering Derrick Henry last week was able to do this against the Bills, and he does not catch a lot of balls. So he was able to do this as well. All right, San Francisco at New Orleans. This we opened up on the 49ers side here. I don't think the Brock Purdy injury changes anything for me, but I will take the better line at the -3 because I did not bet the spread, and I'm still not betting the spread, but I'll take the better spread line. The total hasn't moved, which is interesting. So the spread line has changed, in my opinion, dramatically. 3 points, that's a lot. But the total did not change. So that's kind of interesting. I think I don't know if the books are trying to trap Saints bettors here, but I'm not taking the Saints. I think Mac Jones is serviceable. I think Kyle Shanahan can scheme enough things up here to win this game. So we did already take San Francisco in a money line parlay, which obviously that's not looking as good now because the line moved towards the Saints. But I think it's still fine. We took McCaffrey in a touchdown parlay with A-Chain, and I have 2 new best bets for you. So Ricky Pearsall over 53.5 receiving yards. We did take him last week. I think it was 41.5 that we took him at last week. He obviously had over 100. His receptions line is set at 4.5. So if he gets 5 receptions here, I like his chances to get a little bit over 50. We also saw Mac Jones be really successful last year with Brian Thomas Jr. So if he hyper targets Ricky Pearsall, I think Ricky Pearsall could have another great game, maybe 100 yards. I also think the Saints will be stacking the box against Christian McCaffrey. So we'll just see how that goes. I also want to get another bet on Rashid Shaheed. We did not cash our bet on Rashid Shaheed last game. But we're going to take it again. So over 38.5 receiving yards. He ended up having like 6 catches or something like that, something ridiculous, but didn't go over his receiving yards line. They were all short passes. He is a long pass guy. He's a speedster. And I think the San Francisco defense might allow, that one long catch that we're looking for. So I didn't want to take the longest reception because he does have the potential to get those 6 catches that he got last time. So I think he ends up here with about 4 catches. One of those probably goes for about 20 yards to get about half of this. So I like this here. We're going to get back on Rashid Shaheed. If he burns us 2 weeks in a row, might be time to get off of him. All right, New England at the Miami Dolphins. We started on the Miami side of things, and we're not changing that. So I know a lot of people are on the Patriots. I think the Patriots could easily win this game. I kind of hope they do because I do have some long-term bets on the Patriots, and I have some long-term bets against the Dolphins. So that would really work out for my long-term bets. But I have not officially placed anything on this game other than some player props and the over of 44.5. I believe you can get that at 43.5 now. So that's unfortunate, but I already bet it at 44.5. So I am hoping for a high game total and then for some of these player props to hit. So we'll take Drake May over 216.5 passing yards. I already gave that out. Tua over 238.5. I already gave that out. And I already gave out Devon A-Chain in the touchdown parlay. So nothing new here for today's video in this game. Although, let's go back. I do think that you could look at some of these other players. I know Kayshon Boutte is really popular. Hunter Henry is really popular. I really like Travion Henderson's over 18.5 receiving yards. I might end up getting on that. But for now, I'm not, just because I already have a lot of exposure to this game. So my favorite would probably be that Travion Henderson over 18.5. I also like Tyreek Hill for a possible touchdown. I also like him over 5.5 receptions. So, there's a lot to like here. I just already have a lot invested in this game, so I probably won't go in on anything more. All right, the Carolina Panthers going to the Arizona Cardinals. We were on the Carolina Panthers for the money line, the spread, and the total here for the over. So the only thing that has changed is that the spread, you can get it at 7 now. But we just bet the money line. I did not bet the spread, and I did bet the over in this game. Now, you would think if I think the underdog could win and that the total is going over, that I would have some player props in this game. And I will. I just have not decided how I want to attack this yet. I don't like the numbers that I'm getting on some of the players. I want to see them settle a little bit, and then I'll decide what I'm doing here. I might end up taking some alt lines. I like James Conner's rushing yards. I do like Teteroa McMillan for a touchdown. I do like him for over his 5.5 receptions, but the payout's not a full payout for that. So I'm still looking here. I don't know if I want to go in on Bryce Young's passing yards again. Anyway, so we'll just see. I have not decided yet, but I probably will have some player props in this game. All right, the Broncos and the Colts. So we were on the Broncos side, and we got it at 2.5 on the spread, but now it's at 1. So obviously that's better. I did not make any bets on the game total, sides, or spread, but I liked the over 42.5. I did bet Jonathan Taylor for a touchdown for some plus money, RJ Harvey for a touchdown for some plus money, and Daniel Jones under his 20.5 completions. Those were all given out in previous videos. I do like this game to be on the ground for some reason. I don't know where I'm going with that. I just like that to happen. I don't know. I have no other explanation beyond that. I just have this feeling it's going to be more of a ground game. I do think Daniel Jones is not going to be able to get some of those easy passes that he got against the Dolphins. All right, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. I did give out all Philly, so we're on the Philly money line. I didn't bet it. I leaned towards the Philly spread at 0.5, and then the over at 47.5. The under at, this is wrong. So it's the under at 46.5. Now it's moved up to 47.5. So the under on that. Sorry, I'm not going to go back and fix this. It's too late. But under 47.5 is the where I'm leaning here. Everyone's expecting a very high scoring game. And I think that total, I'm surprised the total didn't get pushed up more. In the video, I said, it would get pushed up to 48, 49, 50 maybe, and it didn't. So I think a lot of money is coming in on the under, and that is why it is not getting pushed up. And that is where I would have been. Jalen Hurts under a fumble, that was available at a regular line, so I took that. Obviously, he is always live for a fumble with those tush pushes, and the fumble does not have to be recovered by the Chiefs to count as a fumble. So if he puts it on the ground, it counts as a fumble, but we're taking the under there. And then I already gave out Isaiah Pacheco over 34.5 rush yards. I did see the line go down to 31.5, so you might be able to get a better number there if that's still available. All right, Atlanta at the Minnesota Vikings. We were leaning Minnesota on the money line, but Atlanta to keep it tight, plus 4.5. Now that spread has shortened. I think it's at 3 now. So we'll just stick with the 4.5 we originally had. The under of 45.5. Bijan Robinson anytime touchdown. We already gave that out. And the new bet that I have in this game is JJ McCarthy under 19.5 completions. Baker Mayfield, who obviously a much better passer in my opinion than JJ McCarthy, at least from what we've seen so far, was not able to get to 19.5 completions. I believe he had like 16 or 17. And JJ only had 13 last week. So yeah, do I think they're going to get the pass game going a little bit more, get some more passes to Justin Jefferson? I do, but I don't know that JJ McCarthy can go from throwing 13 completions to throwing 20 completions against a team where Baker Mayfield wasn't even able to do it in a division matchup. So we're taking the under on JJ McCarthy there. All right, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, speaking of Baker Mayfield, at the Houston Texans. Texans are the favorites. We were on the Buccaneers for the spread, the total, the spread, the money line, and the total over 42.5. I do think this one's going to be a really good game. We bet on a Nico Collins touchdown. I gave that out previously, and CJ Stroud over 226.5 passing yards. I also previously gave out CJ Stroud over 63.2 completion percentage. So nothing new here, from a term of like the player props. So this is the same. Raiders at the Chargers. So the Chargers kind of weird. They're starting off playing the Chiefs, the Raiders, and the Broncos. So it's kind of a weird schedule. But Chargers are the favorites here, and we were on the Chargers side for everything. So Chargers money line, Chargers spread, and then the over 46.5. Ashton Genty, we're going to take him under 17.5 rush attempts. I already gave that out. Lad McConkey touchdown I already gave out. And then the two new plays I have for you in this game is Geno Smith over 7.5 rushing yards. He rushes more than people think. I mean, he'll take 2 to 3 rushes a game, especially if he's under pressure, which I do think this team is going to shut down the run game. They're also pretty good against the pass game, decent anyway. And so I think Geno will have to run a couple times here. And, 7.5 is a pretty low line if he's going to run 2 or 3 times. And then Omari and Hampton, I'm putting him in a touchdown parlay. I know the Ladd McConkey one I already have. I do think they could probably both score. More likely, it will end up just being one or the other. But yeah, I just wanted a little bit more skin in that game. So I added Hampton to the touchdown parlay. All right, here are the best bets from today's video that are brand new. So we have the touchdown parlay plus 500 with Kyron, Omari and Hampton, and Chase Brown. And then we have Rashid Shaheed over 38.5 receiving yards, JJ McCarthy under 19.5 completions, Ricky Pearsall over 53.5 receiving yards, Breece Hall over 18.5 receiving yards, Geno Smith over 7.5 rushing yards. And then I do have a long shot for Kyron to have the first touchdown against the Titans at plus 350. So I probably should be getting better odds on that, but whatever. I already took it. I just think he's going to have a decent game here. Probably you could look at his fantasy score. You could also be looking at Travion Henderson's 18.5 receiving yards, like I mentioned earlier. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you want to get in for the cash prize giveaway, you just have to choose 2 best bets that have not already been played, so nothing from the Thursday game, but you don't have to choose from this screen. You can go ahead to those other bets that I've already given out. So I've given out probably over 20 bets, and you just have to choose 2 of them that you think are going to hit. And if they do, you'll be in the running for that cash prize giveaway that we will do probably for the Monday video. So if you want to choose some Sunday bets specifically, then you could choose the Monday bets on the Monday video. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed and like the video. Thanks, guys.